are you if the government says you're not who you say you are? Who are you if your teacher disagrees? Who are you if the pastor says, oh, no, 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 no? Can you love Brother Jesus and wear a pentacle? Oh, no. Let's see. Let me look at what book says I can't. You're here to know you, to be self-aware of who you are, regardless of the governments of man, regardless of religions, regardless of schools and universities and all this stuff they say is knowledge. You have access to everything right now. You can channel it right now. Talk to your guides. Talk to your spirit. Talk to your angels. Show me what you want me to know. Let the synchronicities begin. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. And don't incite violence on other people that believe different than you. Live it, walk it, be it. Learn to just sit and just be who you are. Oh, but people won't like me. No, and guess what? There's lots of people who don't like you now. There's lots of people who are not going to like you. Okay? Do you like you? Well, quite often we say, no, I don't like me. When you love you and accept your true self, you move to different versions of reality that are about that true self. Every time you face a darkness, you face an awareness of who you are, you clear out who you're not. Every time something comes up and you're like, oh, that's weird, I feel all sad and emotional. Okay, you know, that's not for you. You don't have to do it again. You don't have to do things in your life you don't want to do. I used to roll my eyes every time somebody said that. Well, what about this? What about that? What about that? Then I realized the more you are your true self, the more honest with yourself you are, the more you clear out triggers and traumas by first acknowledging they exist, the more you bring things into your timeline that are things you actually want to be there. And you see these shifts, sometimes they're big. You get all this relief and a whole life shift. And sometimes they're small, you know, and like we're always talking about if you can't find joy, if you don't know what your joy is, then find relief. And that's what I found. I lived in a vehicle for years. It just kind of happened. And now I have a home and I have relief. And I can't say that I have joy. I have joyous moments. I have laughter at different movies. I spend all of my time alone by choice. I liked people to be in my life, but in this current upheaval in the world, it's like this game of jacks, right? Throw them all up in the air. They're all working it out. They haven't landed. And to find your new tribe now, or to start, you know, a new healing center, a new church, or work on something now, you know, the timeline's everything's settling. So don't focus out there. Focus in here. What do I like? What do I want to do in a day? And back to what I was saying about, I'd roll my eyes. People say, well, you don't have to do anything you don't have to want to do. But you really don't. And I didn't know that. You know, I learned that I could let go of every single thing I didn't want. And then, yeah, I ended up living in a car. But the peacefulness about that is I didn't have the pressures of someone constantly pestering me. I didn't have housing issues. I didn't have to deal with, you know, stuck drains or electric bills or I didn't have to deal with any of that. I had a whole new set of things. And yeah, survival and fear. There was lots of things. But I had created a way outside of the matrix, way outside of the matrix, out of the control of everything. Okay? And when you live outside of that, and then you come back and people complaining about taxes, they're complaining about jobs, they're complaining about medical stuff that's pushed on them, they're complaining about all this stuff, and they're like, they made me do it. That's what they made me do it. No. You're afraid to be homeless. You're afraid to live off the land. You're afraid to not let government you're afraid to not pay your taxes. You let them control you by your fear. So people are like, well, I don't know how to do anything different. Well, just stop doing it all. I mean, you know, I I didn't know in my 20s that I could live in a car. If I'd have known that, I'd have probably, I'd have left things that were oppressing me way sooner. You can live in a car. You can live without a vehicle. On the street, call it whatever. Homeless shelter, couch surfing. If you say, well, I had to take that poison or I had to do this or that because my job, right? If you live for your job and you're willing to die for it, your job is your God, right? I don't relate. You create the reality you want by things you accept, okay? Then you get down to where it's all stripped away, and then you feel lonely and sad because those are programs too. And as you sit there in the stillness and just be, and ignore all those programs, and don't strive to be, they're successful, and oh my God, I got 40,000 degrees, and then I died. I don't mean like Fahrenheit, but I mean like college. Too funny. So, I had this successful job. I had all these degrees. I had all these kids. I had all these, cars. I mean, whatever the heck your version is of success, right? My guides told me success was dying while you were alive. And that told me that in my 20s, right? I did. Got all this stuff, these businesses, material goods, material money, family, got all this stuff. And then I just jumped timelines. And I let it all go. To die while you're alive, meaning let go of everything you thought was your life. Your career, your money, your long-term relationship, every single thing you thought was your life. And begin again. As what? Well, I'm not important. Well, I don't have people to say, hey, Mrs. Important, I know your name. Hey, and moving somewhere where from a small town, everybody knew me. Hey, you're a celebrity just because you breathe. Because small towns are kind of like that. But when you get into a bigger area like I'm in now, people don't know you. Even the people that know you don't know you. And so, who are you without someone else's version of you? If you're in a room and you're given a certain thing to eat, oh, I don't really like that, I don't want it. You're in the room by yourself, you're thinking, oh, so-and-so left that on the table for me, I don't want any of that. But if so-and-so's in the room and they made it, or if your mom's in the room and they made it, you might be like, oh yeah, I love that. That's so good, right? Just one example. There's thousands of them, right? Where you can be phony. Every time you try stuff like that, every time you're someone else's version of you, you create that in your energy field and you draw to you more in your life that's not the real you. It's the you were pretending to be. And there's a conflict in the true belief versus what you're faking. And if what you're faking to please others is what you're repeating, you're creating that. And it's also probably going to make a sickness in your body because it's not your core truth. Right? And not only, besides you didn't really like the food you were eating. It could be anything, going somewhere. If you always choose, like, I say, I'm excited right now to go to the store. I'm going to run to the store. And then you kind of get in the car and you're like, hey, I'd rather go here or whatever. Feeling into the moment, I call it. The next exciting thing, what feels good. And that leads you to what spirit is bringing into your life that's authentically you. But if you can't be spontaneous, if you get in the car and it's like, nope, I have to go where I said I was going to go, or so-and-so's going to, chew me out, and this person's going to be mad, or I'll disappoint God, or my teacher, or, my pastor, or, any of these people that need you to be a certain version of them, of yourself, so that they feel better about themselves. Every time you do that, you create something in your field that brings more of that to you. And what it's basically really telling you, your inner core, is that I don't get to do what I want. I never get what I want. I can never go where I want. I can never create what I want, because you're not creating it every day, because you're letting someone else, they may not be living the life they want, but them complaining at you not being the version of you they need you to be is what keeps them going. It keeps them okay. Also keeps them stuck and gives them a reason and excuse to be stuck where they're at. In other words, they're not being their true self. If they have to constantly micromanage you to be a version of you that pleases them. So who are you anyway? Who are you without anyone else? Who are you?